He was the hero of the rebellion, the Jedi who saved his father. The guy who stood toe-to-toe with Palpatine and walked away like a legend. And yet, he also spent half his screen time sulking, yelling, or dramatically staring into the horizon like he was auditioning for a galactic soap opera. Luke Skywalker, ladies and gentlemen, the ultimate drama magnet in a galaxy full of them. You want to talk about emotional damage? This man went from complaining about chores to igniting a full-on identity crisis in less than a trilogy. One second, he's whining about power converters. The next, he's losing limbs, kissing his sister, and hallucinating Darth Vader in a cave. It's not a character arc, it's an interstellar meltdown, and we all just accepted it like it was normal Jedi behavior. And don't even try to defend the Octu vacation. He didn't go into exile. He rage quit the Force. Cut himself off like it was an ex. He didn't want to text back. Then when someone finally finds him, he tosses a sacred lightsaber over his shoulder like it's a banana peel. Because yeah, nothing says wisdom like ghosting your family and living with alien nuns for a decade. But here's the real kicker. The galaxy keeps calling him their last hope. Meanwhile, he's out here milking sea creatures and mood-swinging harder than Anakin ever did. The Jedi Order fell, the Sith rose again, and Luke was just vibing in a cave, hoping the problem would solve itself. I mean, come on. If the Force had a customer service line, Luke would be on hold forever. Still, there's something kind of brilliant about all of it. The emotional missinesses, the flair for theatrics, the panic attacks with a lightsaber. It weirdly made him human. He wasn't a perfect Jedi. He was a guy trying not to fall apart while the galaxy expected him to save it. And honestly, that kind of meltdown makes him more relatable than any prophecy ever did. In this video, we're breaking down the full drama saga of Luke Skywalker, the good, the bad, and the emotionally unstable. From his whiny farm boy phase to his tragic ghost wizard finale. We'll explore how his flair for the dramatic didn't just define him, it shaped the entire fate of the galaxy, and somehow, no one's talking about it. Until now. Let's just say it. Luke Skywalker had a flair for the dramatic. He wasn't just a farm boy dreaming of adventure. He was a full-blown, emotionally volatile, force-sensitive wrecking ball waiting to implode. And the weird part is, no one ever calls him out on it. We act like he was this Zen monk floating through the galaxy, when really, he was a walking soap opera. Remember his first appearance? Whining about power converters, and being stuck on Tatooine like it was some cosmic prison. Dude was one burnt breakfast away from writing angsty poetry in the sand. He didn't just want to leave home, he wanted to make a whole event out of it. Running out into the desert like he was starring in a personal coming-of-age musical. Even when things got serious, Luke kept dialing the emotion up to 11. His reaction to Obi-Wan's death was instant melodrama. Then 5 minutes later, he's back in the pilot's seat, blowing up the Death Star like it's no big deal. The emotional whiplash is real. 1 minute he's grieving. The next he's the galaxy's golden boy. And don't even get me started on his training with Yoda. From day one, it's a struggle session. Full of grunts, groans, and force tantrums. Yoda's trying to teach him balance. But Luke's over here rage-quitting because he didn't stack some rocks the right way. That's not Jedi Master energy. That's Jim Bro meltdown energy. There's something oddly fascinating about it though, because Luke's drama isn't just for show, it's built into the story. His emotions drive the plot. His reactions shape entire arcs. And it kind of makes you wonder, was this just bad writing? Or was Star Wars trying to tell us something deeper about the galaxy's most reluctant icon? And here's where it gets maddening. Because all that drama didn't stay harmless. It spiraled into some galaxy-scale consequences. And everyone around Luke just kind of shrugged, like that was fine. No one pulled him aside and said, hey, maybe chill out for 5 seconds before swinging your lightsaber at your own family again. Let's talk about Empire Strikes Back. He gets a vision of his friends in danger, and immediately rage flips off Dagobah mid-training, ignoring every warning Yoda and Ghost Kenobi gave him. What does he do? Walks right into a trap, gets his hand chopped off, finds out Vader's his dad, and then proceeds to scream like someone just spoiled his favorite holodrama. For all the screaming and brooding and dramatic cliff dives, there's a sadness underneath it all that's hard to ignore, because Luke didn't just act out for no reason. He was a kid thrown into the middle of a war, handed a legacy he never asked for, and expected to fix what generations of Jedi failed to stop. His father was Space Hitler with a lightsaber. His mentors all lied to him. His training was rushed and chaotic, and every friend he made seemed to die or vanish the second things got real. That kind of weight doesn't just settle on your shoulders. It crushes you, especially when you're barely out of your teenage years. By the time we catch up with him in The Last Jedi, he's not a hero anymore. He's a shell, hiding on an island, cut off from the Force, milking sea cows and pretending he's fine. That's not peace. That's trauma, wearing a bathrobe. He didn't just run away from the fight. He ran away from himself. And let's not forget the Ben Solo moment. the one that truly broke him. He saw darkness in his nephew, and for one split second considered ending it before it began. That wasn't strength, that was fear. And once he realized it, the shame shattered what was left of him. That's not the mark of a villain, but of someone completely lost. Luke's drama wasn't just loud, it was layered. It was the cry of someone who never had time to grieve, who never got to be just. Luke, and in the galaxy far, far away. Grief is dangerous when you've got the Force at your fingertips. But here's the twist. All that drama, all that noise and chaos, somehow became the thing that made him legendary. Because Luke Skywalker didn't win battles through flawless technique or perfect wisdom. He won by feeling everything, and still choosing to stand in the fire anyway. On the Death Star, with Palpatine cackling in his face, he throws away his weapon and says no. Not because he has a plan, not because he's sure he'll survive, but because he's done with the cycle. That moment, raw and emotional and reckless, is one of the most powerful scenes in Star Wars history. Even in The Last Jedi, after all the sulking and ghosting, he shows up one last time, not to kill Kylo, but to confront him with words and memories, to buy time for the Resistance, and to finally take control of his legacy. And yes, he does it with maximum drama, walking out alone against an army like he's in a Force-powered Western finale. And that's where the magic sneaks in. Because Luke's journey wasn't about being flawless, it was about being human, and somehow, still being enough. He didn't start perfect, he didn't end perfect, but he kept trying. And in Star Wars, that's the whole point. The Jedi before him were too rigid, too disconnected, too afraid of emotion. But Luke felt everything. Loss, rage, joy, fear. And instead of running from it forever, he used it slowly, painfully, to find balance. That's not failure, that's growth. He saved his father, not with strength, but with compassion. He lit the spark of rebellion again, not by fighting, but by showing up when no one else would. And even when he doubted everything, he still answered the call. Because deep down, he knew the galaxy needed hope more than it needed perfection. His mistakes mattered, but so did his redemption. His pain was real, but so was the light he brought back into the world. And that's the part people miss when they only see the tantrums and the angst. They miss the resilience, the evolution, the quiet, stubborn heart that refused to quit. Luke Skywalker wasn't a flawless Jedi, but he was a powerful reminder that even the loudest, most emotional people can still save the galaxy. If they care enough to try, but in the end, all that emotion had a cost. Luke gave everything, and still walked away feeling like he failed. His legend survived, but the man behind it faded. Not in battle, but in silence, alone, watching the suns set like the boy he once was. That's the tragedy. Not that he was flawed, but that the galaxy never let him forget it. He carried his mistakes like scars, and even after he gave them everything, they asked for more. The Jedi expected him to be perfect. The Resistance expected him to be a symbol, and he never got to just be. And we, the audience, we did the same. We demanded greatness. We wanted the farm boy to become a god, and when he didn't, we called it betrayal, when maybe. It was the most honest version of Luke we ever got. He was emotional, dramatic, complicated, but he was also brave, loyal, and full of heart. He wasn't the Jedi we thought we wanted, but he became the one we truly needed. A legend not of stoic silence, but of messy, raw humanity. In the end, maybe being a drama queen isn't such a bad thing. Not if it means you still fight for what's right, still love, despite the pain, and still believe in something bigger than yourself, even if your journey looks nothing like the stories we were told. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy my videos, please consider looking at my pinned comment and checking out the links for my Amazon storefront. It contains my favorite Legos, my gear in which I make videos, and comics that I read on a daily basis. I update it constantly, so please, take a moment and click on the link. On top of that, check out my second channel, Critical Analysis Hub Plus, and my third channel, Critical Analysis Hub XP. Just one click would go on a long way in supporting my channels and future in YouTube.